Alright, this is John Kohler with OKRaw.com. Today I have another exciting episode for you, and this may be a controversial one. There are people on YouTube that advocate, adding sugar to your bananas if they're not ripe enough, they're not sweet enough. And what I'm here today to do at the 2013 Woodstock Fruit Festival is to interview 12 of the pioneers here that teach the raw, plant-based message to you guys and get their opinions on, is refined sugar okay to add on a raw foods diet, or is it not okay? So without further ado, let's just get into the clips and share with you guys the opinions of the different pioneers here. So now we're with Megan Elizabeth. You can learn more and check her out at meganelizabeth.com. She's been into raw foods for over 5 years now.
Well, I would have to say no, in my opinion. I really believe that as you're getting into raw food, you're trying to avoid refined foods. It would never exist in nature. We can only get whole foods in nature, so we should eat whole foods. And anything that's refined is, especially refined sugar, it's lacking in fiber and water, and it's just like absorbed right into your system, and it can cause blood sugar issues and things like that. So it's not very nutrient dense, and I think, especially coming from cooked food diets, most of us need to just start eating the most nutrient dense foods that we possibly can, and eating enough calories of nutrient dense foods. So I don't think that refined foods should be a staple in anybody's diet.
All right, thank you, Megan. So another question I have is, you said you should eat whole foods. So I mean, I go to my Whole Foods all the time, and they sell refined sugar. I mean, does that make it all right?
No, Whole Foods sells a lot of stuff. I mean, they sell like Happy Meat and
Happy Meat?
So
how could meat be happy?
It can't be happy. That's
Sad
the point.
Meat.
Yeah. So just because Whole Foods sells it doesn't mean that it's a whole food.
Thank you, Megan, for clarifying that. So now we're here with Dr. Samuel Milkarski. It's drsampetey.com, who's been into raw foods for 15 years.
No. No, it's not. Refined sugar is not the same as fruit sugar, and this is the big misconception, I think, when people think eating fruit's dangerous because they equivalent fruit with fructose. Fructose and high fructose corn syrup is not the same kind of sugar you're getting when you eat fruit. When it's attached to the water, the minerals, the vitamins, the fiber, then it's really not the same thing. So refined sugar, no. Fruit sugar from whole natural fruit, yes.
All right, so now we're here with Tim Van Orden. RunningRaw.com is his website. 9 years into raw foods. He has lots of experience, but besides the experience, I like how Tim thinks.
Wow, really controversial, because there's the general consensus is that refined sugars are bad, but there are some people in the raw community that are promoting the consumption of refined sugar. Lance Armstrong's coach, Chris Carmichael, who has written several books, basically, I read those books when I was becoming an athlete, and he says eat like sugared cereals before your workouts and all this stuff. And the people that are in the raw food movement telling you to eat refined sugar are reading Chris Carmichael's books.
Oh, interesting.
Because I just saw one outside of their door next to their shoes.
Oh, wow.
So maybe that's where they're getting this information from. From my, I read studies all the time. So I'm always looking at sugar metabolism and how it affects the body. Refined sugar is not a health food in any way, shape, or form. There are certain polyphenols and flavonoids which are really beneficial nutrients in fruits and vegetables that help the body deal with the sugars in a regulated fashion. It's like electricity. Sugar is energy. So if you stick your finger in the wall socket, not good. But if you plug something into the wall socket and it's coded and it goes to a video camera and a microphone, or lights, these are all the tools that those plants provide. So the plants are providing the extension cord, they're providing the camera, they're providing the lights, they're providing the switches, all the safety hardware, so you can effectively and safely use that energy. But when you take all the safety hardware away, what you're doing is you're sticking your finger in the socket. That's what it's like to eat refined sugar. There's nothing to help you regulate it. So, not good. Sugar's bad, okay?
So now we're with Durin Rider. His website is 30bananasaday.com. He's been into raw foods now for 11 years.
Good question. I'll say yes. Some people say no. I'll say yes. I've done a personal experience about testing my blood cells, my hemoglobin A1C, the glycated hemoglobin, my glucose, triglycerides, etc. I found it's fine, but I'm not saying it's better than whole fruits. Obviously, whole fruits are the best because you get more vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, steroids, etc. Refined sugar, however, like organic coconut sugar, organic sucralose sugar, organic cane sugar, etc., maybe can help you add in a bit more simple sugars. Let's say you have a fruit meal, you live where the fruit's not that good, but you want to eat fruit, you don't want to eat anything else but fruits and vegetables, adding a bit of simple sugars that would have otherwise been there if the fruit was grown properly can add the simple sugar content to your meal. I remember in 2009 my mum was adding sugar to some pineapple. And I said, Mum, like, why are you doing that? That's stupid. Like, you shouldn't be eating it if it's not ripe, it's not ready. She's like, oh, okay, and she threw it out. And then later on she's eating ice cream. But if she had the pineapple with the sugar on it, she would have been satisfied her sweet tooth. So I've learnt a lot in this last 11 years. So obviously fresh fruit's the best, high quality, sugar rich. If you can't get it, maybe sprinkle a bit of organic sugar on your fruits to bulk up that sweetness and get your sweet tooth satisfied, so you're not reaching for the Hershey's or the Royal Cacao or the Baskin Robbins later on.
All right, so now we're here with Dan McDonald, also known as the Life Regenerator or DTM. You could call him any one of those. He's been into raw foods for the last 13 years.
I don't like sugars without minerals. I don't like it. I don't like cooked sugars because the minerals being out of the agave, especially not the white sugar, you don't want to. That makes you go crazy because it's like rocket fuel without any of the electricity. The example is put the white sugar in the water and put the diodes in the water and see if the light bulb lights up. No light bulb. Now put the salt into the water, put the diodes in the water and see the light bulb light up. Again, put the diodes into fruit with the sodium and the cell salts in the whole organic fruit, the light bulb lights up. So if the light bulb doesn't light up, then I don't want to eat it because every meal should be lighting you up. I want my food to lift me higher and not drag me down. I don't know where y'all are going, but I want to go up that way and outwards this way and have that conductivity and flow of the divine energy. So I'm going to avoid those sugars. Now, am I like religious and insane about it? Maybe every 6 months I'll have a piece of chocolate with agave in it just for the heck of it, you know, but for the most part, I will have the dates, I will have the bananas, I will have the oranges, whole fruit sugars with minerals. Minerals. Make sure that everything has their minerals from the soil coming up through the plant into the fruit, and then those minerals are the frequencies of energy which allow cells to communicate, which allow the electricity to flow through you so that your light bulb is on.
So now we're here with Grant Campbell of RawAussieAthlete.com. He's been into raw foods for the last 8 years now.
That's a flat out no from me. I think all refined foods cause a problem with nutrition. We're designed to eat whole foods that give us a full nutritional package of enzymes, vitamins, minerals, carbs, fat, protein, antioxidants, fiber, water, all these great things. If you're eating refined foods, you're throwing out that balance and you can't meet your needs. I think if you're looking for extra sweetness in your food, then the cause, that problem, the underlying problem is not going to be addressed by adding refined sugar. You need to seek out sweeter produce, grow your own. You can, eat the fruit riper. Maybe you're not letting it ripen enough. Something like this. There's no shortcuts to making good quality food. If it's not sweet, then you've got to solve the problem. Grow better quality produce.
So now we're with Don Bennett, DAS. His website is health101.org. He's been into a fruit-based raw diet for over 20 years.
Well, it's absolutely okay to eat refined sugars on a raw food diet if you're eating an unhealthy raw food diet. That's just fine. But if you want to eat the healthiest of the raw food diets, yeah, refined sugars really don't have a place. It really all depends on how healthy do you want to be. If you only want to be 80% of your health and longevity potential, then that's fine. Some processed sugars are just fine. Just not too much, no more than like a 5-pound bag a day. But if you want the healthiest health that your genetics will allow you to have, and I'm talking about your health not just today or tomorrow or a week from now, 40 years from now, way in the future. You've got to remember, you're doing this as an investment in your future health. So if you want to be as healthy as your genetics will allow you to be, yeah, processed refined sugars really have no part in a healthy, optimal healthy diet.
All right, so now we're with Frilly, the banana girl. Be sure to check her out on YouTube. Banana girl. I mean, she's all about her bananas. She loves bananas more than I do.
I love them.
Is that possible? Anyway, she's been into raw foods now for the last 7 years.
Is it all right? Well, is it raw? Is refined sugars raw? Well, look, personally, I have coconut sugar, and whether it's raw or not is debatable because it's evaporated sugar from the sap of the palm tree. But, you know, if you're in a bind and you can't get enough quality fruit, then yes, I would recommend that you have some refined sugar, such as coconut sugar. That's really the only one I recommend. White sugar, I'm not a fan. Coconut sugar I am, because it's actually low GI and it doesn't give you any sugar spikes. So if you add that to your smoothie, if your banana quality isn't high enough, or you can't get enough quality fruit, add that in and you're going to feel a lot more satisfied, and then you're less likely to fall off the wagon and go back to eating that junk food. Because I'm sure you agree, that is going to be better than eating a whole lot of processed rubbish, high fat foods and things like that. So yes, in some cases it can be okay.
All right, thank you, Freely. So now we're with Cristina Carrillo Bucaram. You can check her out at fullyraw.com. Highly recommend it. She's been eating a fully raw, plant-based, fruit-based diet for over 8 years.
No. No. Why would you eat refined sugar when you can get the natural sugar in the fruit itself? You get those natural sugars are going to be more easily absorbed by your body. They have more vitamins in it, and it's going to be way more hydrating. It's, you know, separating that juice from the fiber is not what's going to keep you healthy. Consider your body like a juicer. When you eat an apple, your body literally absorbs all of that liquid. It absorbs the vitamins from that juice, and you poop out the fiber. Your body is a juicer. So if you're eating just the refined sugar, you've separated a part of the essential part of that food. You've taken out some of the vitamins, some of the minerals, some of the fiber, and you're just eating that sugar. It's not as optimal as a food as it could be. And the most optimal food that is high in water content, that has those simple sugars that your body needs, is fruit. Go for the fruit.
Go for the fruit and get good sweet fruit instead of pouring sugar on it when you can't get sweet fruit. Organic
Fruit tastes better as well. Just making a point.
So we're here with Dr. Robert Lockhart. His website is sunfoodhealthretreat.com, and he's been into raw foods for the last 25 years.
You want a simple answer? No. No, I certainly wouldn't. Anything that's been refined, heated, and I know the sugar mills in my area that I live in Australia, and I know that the additives, the heating, the way that sugar acts to cause chaos in the body in the long run, especially refined sugar. We need glucose, which is provided by our normal whole food. Both fruits and vegetables will provide the natural sugar. You're not going to find natural sugar in refined sugar, I'm afraid. Sorry. You're going to get spikes happening, you're going to get hypoglycemic lows taking place when your sugar level drops so suddenly after the body is hit with that high level of sugar, which suddenly floods into the bloodstream. With whole raw foods, the sugar entrance into the bloodstream is far more gentle and takes place over a period of time rather than being a total hit like you're getting in a sugared caffeine drink or whatever you happen to be drinking. So, simple answer to your question, no. Refined sugar has no part in a raw food diet.
Now we're here with Dr. Doug Graham. His website is Food N Sport, and that's the letter N. He's been into raw foods for 35 years now. He's often looked up to as one of the pioneers and true pioneers in the movement here.
Wow, that sounds like a really judgmental question. It's not up to me to judge what other people do, but I question highly the efficacy of a program of taking just a simple sugar and eating it just sugar. I mean, at that point, we might as well eat protein powder out of a can or fat out of a box. I think that foods are supposed to be in a whole component of all their associated nutrients. If I want something sweet, I'll eat sweet fruit. If I want something with some acid taste, I'll eat acid fruit. If I want something with a lot of crunch and not much sweet, then I'll eat some vegetables. If I want something super salty, I'll eat more vegetables. But if I just want sweet to simply add sugar, I can't recommend that as a course of action for anybody. Even if they say, oh, well, this is absolutely guaranteed, not refined, 100% raw. Well, it had to be refined. The water's been removed, the fiber's been removed, the associated nutrients aren't there. Always, always, always raw foods. Always, always, always whole foods. And whole foods are always the best option. So, in a world of good, better, best, I trust people to make their own decisions about what's best. If the only thing you have is raw sugar and no other food options for the next 6 weeks and you have to live on a bag of raw sugar, well, I guess it was probably smart to do it. You know, but otherwise, there are better options available. Whole food is always your best option. I'll go through it. There's 6 parameters, 6 adjectives. Whole, fresh, ripe, raw, organic plants. Look at what's on your plate. If it's whole, fresh, ripe, raw, organic plants, you get a gold star.
Thank you, Doug. So you guys just heard 11 opinions on if sugar should be included on a raw foods diet. And to refresh you guys, 2 of the pioneers said, yeah, it's all right. And all the others resoundingly said, it's not okay. Next, I'm gonna give you my opinions. So I'm John Kohler. I've been into raw foods for the last 18 years now. You can check me out more on okraw.com. And do I believe sugar should be consumed on a raw foods diet? Absolutely not. It should not be included. Why? Well, I don't know about you, but when I got into raw foods, it was, you know, trying to improve my diet. And we know that like white sugar, white flour, all those white processed foods are not good for us. So why would we want to include a food that we probably got rid of a long time ago? Another reason for me that's very important and near and dear to my heart is that, you know, overconsumption of sugar may depress your immune system. I got into raw foods to save my life, literally, and I don't want to eat excess sugar that may compromise my immune system even just one bit. Another reason why I do not like sugar is because, you know, it's just literally one nutrient. I mean, we all talk about whole foods. Why eat whole foods? It's full of nutrients. Besides the sugar, there's the antioxidants, the phytochemicals, the minerals. But when you just take the isolated sugar, you're just getting sugar, whether it's in the form of sucrose, glucose, or fructose. And our bodies are not really designed to handle, you know, sugar without extra nutrition. It's the fiber that kind of buffers the sugar in the bloodstream, unless you want that, you know, fast sugar rush, sugar hit. I don't think it's really a good idea. We should get our sugars from whole foods. Another thing that's really important to me is that because we're living in this modern day and age, you know, from the time we were little young wee ones, we've all been fed, you know, refined sugar products. So we have a real sweet tooth, or, you know, perverted sweet tooth, in my opinion. What do I mean by perverted? Perverted means we really need a lot of sugar to be stimulated, man. And if you ever went on a water fast, for example, if you go on a water fast, don't eat anything for a period of time. My dad actually did a 30-day water fast. After your 30-day water fast, your taste buds reset. It's like resetting that video game when you're messing up and making the score 0 again so you could start all over. Your taste buds reset, so now it's more calibrated. So just even a little bit of celery is like, whoa, man, that's like some of the saltiest stuff I've ever tasted. And the same is true with sugar. Now, if you don't want to go on a fast to reset your salt and sugar taste buds, another real easy way to do it is just eat the foods found naturally in nature that don't have such that high sugar content. I mean, the natural foods we would eat in nature that's high in sugar is fresh fruits. So we want to eat just natural fruits, and we want to, of course, get the ripest fruits, most mineral dense fruits as possible that you can. I mean, to me, the solution for non-sweet fruits that aren't totally ripe, or it's not pour sugar on it so they're edible, it's to, you know, get higher quality fruits, whether that means you got to go to the farmer's market to get it fresh from the farmer that's fresh picked, go to a you-pick farm where you could pick your own fresh off the tree, or even best yet, grow your own food and, you know, grow it in rock dust minerals, pick it at its absolute peak ripeness, and also get the varieties that are going to have the highest sugar content if that's what you're really after. So we need to get used to the standard levels of sugar in foods because we're used to like this much sugar and we need to just get right to this point. I've learned that after many years of raw foods, I'm fine with just having sugar and fruits. I don't need like that extra kick. I mean, occasionally I might indulge in some dates or something like that, but I don't even eat dates all that often. So if you're unable to source the ripest, highest quality fruits that still aren't sweet enough, what I would recommend, instead of adding just sugar and taking the easy cop-out method, add some dried fruits. You know, if you have some bananas that don't taste too good because you live in Australia, for example, take some dates, eat bananas and dates, you know, make little banana sandwiches, cut it in half and put a whole bunch of dates in there, and every bited banana you get some dates with it. Or make a date sauce with some even vanilla powder or vanilla bean and pour that over your bananas and eat it. Man, that's gonna be good. And you could use more than just the dates. You could use literally any dried fruit, just whole or blend it up back in with water to make a nice, creamy, delicious sweet sauce. Another method I like to do sometimes, you know, instead of pouring sugar, extra sugar on my foods, which I do not do, is if I have a fruit that's not tasting so good, I'll juice it. When you juice it and you get rid of the fiber, so no, this is not a whole food any longer, but it's much better than, you know, pouring sugar crystals on your pineapple. Juice the pineapple, get the pineapple juice, because you're removing the fiber, it's gonna heighten the sweetness sensation. I mean, another thing you can do is also dehydrate or take some of the water content out of the fruit and go the other direction. So I mean, that's just another option so that you could get some more fruits down if they're not sweet enough. So to sum it up, I want to encourage you guys to live your life by a motto I constantly strive to do. It's called CANI. C-A-N-I, stands for constant and never-ending improvement. You know, hopefully if you deleted or took out the sugar out of your diet a while back and now you're adding it back in, that's not improving, man. That's like going the wrong direction. Improving would be, you know, going out and start your own banana orchard and grow your own bananas so you can get sweeter fruits. It would be go out and, you know, dehydrate your bananas. You need some fresh bananas with some dehydrated bananas that have the water removed so you get some more sweetness. You know, we want to try to always improve what we're doing instead of go backwards, and in my opinion, eating refined sugars in the form of, you know, coconut sugar, white sugar, sucanat, agave, whatever it is, it's going the wrong direction. We want to eat more fresh fruits and some dried or juice ones if you need to for that extra sweetness. So hopefully after watching this episode, you've learned if it's all right to eat refined sugars on a raw food diet. And the majority of the pioneers of the Woodstock Fruit Festival, it was a resounding no that you should not eat refined sugars. You know, once again, I want to always encourage you guys to think for yourselves and, you know, don't just blindly follow the leader, because, you know, sometimes a leader could lead you off a cliff. But think for yourselves, do your own research, and, you know, also look to others for advice. You know, like if you had a situation, you had to go to the doctors, would you just get the opinion of one doctor? My mom always taught me to go get a second, maybe even a third or fourth opinion, you know, to see what's up. And I would always encourage you guys to fact check and, you know, question everything and do your own research so that you can eat the healthiest raw foods diet ever. Once again, my name is John Kohler with OKRaw.com. We'll see you next time. And remember, keep eating your fresh fruits and vegetables. They're always the best.
Sugar's bad, sugar's bad, sugar's bad, okay?
Doug, what's the difference between an 80-10-10 diet and the 30 bad diet, or one of the diets that's being promoted as something similar to 80-10-10?
It's a great question.